This is Think Like an Acrobat, a pro series by CircusTalk, and I'm your host, Shenea Stiletto. Think Like an Acrobat is where we reveal industry secrets that, once understood and known, demystifies the complexity of the industry. My guest on this episode of Think Like an Acrobat is Cirque singer Sophie Guay. And today she's going to teach us how to sing for ourselves through the art of the circus singer. Hi, Sophie. Thank you so much for coming on to Think Like an Acrobat to help us learn how to sing for ourselves through the art of the circus singer. How are you today?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Well, Sophie, you recently appeared in Cirque du Soleil's grand reopening of Curious, and for a little over 9 years, you have also performed as the lead singer for such shows as Corteo, Hoya, and Scalada. I know this is going to be an inspiring conversation, and so I will start with my first inquiry into the world of the circus singer with asking, if a singer is coming from a traditional singing background, what must they be prepared for when venturing into the world of cirque singing and vocalizing?
So, for singers who would love to participate in cirque singing, I would say to be prepared to sing 8 to 10 shows every week. So that's quite a big load of vocals in a week. Have a great discipline routine. So you very have to take care of your health, of your body, and of your voice, of course. And also, I would say be humble because we're part of a group and the people are coming to see a show. They're not coming to see only a singer. So you have to be humble and you have to be prepared to support vocally something that's going to be visual and be part of a group and have great teamwork spirit.
How should a singer prepare for an audition for a circus company?
So it's important to understand what's the essence of the company. So which kind of circus it is or which show it is. So for example, for Curious, I did a lot of research, like Curious take place in the 1900s. So I did like research on how the people would hold themselves. And I also listened to a lot of music, that is inspired from the show. So I knew originally the show was inspired by Edith Piaf, and the jazz bands from New Orleans. So I listened to a lot of this music, and I also took a class with Berkeley Online, which was jazz vocal. So I really dug into the style of the show and the music in order to nail the audition.
Are there unique needs, Sophie, that a circus singer should have in their contracts?
I would say that contracts are personal to everyone, and the main thing is always be comfortable with what you accept.
Sophie, what would you call the language of cirque music that has become so popular in our industry?
So circ language or invented language is I would say even more universal. Like it's really musical, and the singer give basically color and emotion and intention with the voice for the audience to make their own perspective or make their own interpretation of what you're vocalizing, and instead of having a text or words that will like story tell. So it's really the voice that become an instrument. And what is nice with vocal is that each voice are unique. So you have a very unique sound.
What difference in technique does it take to sing in the circus stylized way that has become so popular and central to the medium?
I would say it's important to, for in order to perform equally each show, like it's not like a one-time performance where you give your all and your everything. You have to give, like, of course, a good level, but you also have to save yourself, because sometimes we can do two and maybe sometimes three shows per day. So you have to save your vocal, your energy, in order to perform like several representation. um, and the difference is, like, for example, to reach a note, you're not gonna give like this super, like, for me, for example, I'm not gonna give too much rasp or too much power in the high notes. I will try to hit it like in a cleanest way, which a less effort as possible, so I don't strain my vocal cord. um, and it's also important for some singer to have alternate melodies. So if like a line is very complicated or hard to reach, if you can have like an alternative where there is like lower notes, so you can like sustain more shows and take care of your voice in case of a vocal fatigue.
Is a Cirque song or mainstream song more difficult to carry, in your opinion, Sophie?
I would say a mainstream song, of course, like people know the music, and they have expectation of what you're gonna deliver. But a Cirque song is really hard to carry because it's longer. So like a mainstream song is about 3.5, 4 minutes, but a Cirque song could be 6 to 8 minutes, and you have like sometimes you have to sing the whole time. So that's a lot a lot of work. And also, like we were speaking earlier about the invented language, like of course when you sing words, you're telling the story as you're singing. Compared to circ music, you have to really focus on what is the story that you are singing in order for the audience to understand. So like the intention, so you have to be very focused and always present when you're singing and delivering the song. So in my opinion, I think it's harder to carry circ song.
How do you suggest a circus singer take care of their voice?
Yeah, well, the voice is it's such a fragile, tiny little muscle. So it's a lot of care, actually. So I would say a lot of sleep, lots of water, because you can't get best hydration than drinking lots of water, and this is really important. And good nutrition, good life hygiene, exercise, um, hot water, ginger, and lemon and honey. It's not a myth. Like it's really, really good for the voice and warming the throat, or even prep before going on stage. Like it's a nice warm liquid that would help you to carry on in the show. And also ginger is really anti-inflammatory, so it's perfect. Like for me, I just I use this a lot. Um, and I would say, like during the day, speak, move. I do yoga, like just to prepare the body. But and also right before going, like a little bit before going on stage, I will do a little warm up. But it's mainly just to prep my body, like to know where to resonate the sound in my like cavities, and how I will use the technique. But I don't think too much. And I also do this warm up to sharpen the ears, because we always speak about the vocal cord, but it's also the ears, your instrument. So you have like to like warm up the ears and the vocal cords and your diaphragm. But I would say, like, I know some people that would over sing before going on stage, and they just fatigue the voice. Like it to me, like a little warm up, 5, 10, 15 minutes max, in a case where I feel actually fatigued and I want to really stretch the vocal cords and like really go like into the show. But quick warm up, and yeah, that's my routine care.
Sophie, what is the creative process like in the development of Cirque-specific music for the vocalist?
I would say get inspired by the movement, what is happening on stage. Like if you're holding, like the acrobat is gonna be doing like this beautiful handstand and like going into that beautiful position, you have to follow it with your voice. It has to be fluid. You have to feel it, and also you have to know the story you're singing. So for example, in Curious, we have this beautiful number where it's Siamese twins that are doing aerial straps, and then they just like fly apart, and it's like that like tearing story. So you have to sing that song with like so much emotion and passion, and it's that beautiful lyrical music. So yeah, you have to know the story of what you're singing and the story behind the show and each number, but also get inspired with the movement of the acrobats on stage.
Is it a challenge to play or interact with active characters on stage? And what methods do you use to do both that are unique to a traditional concert environment?
Like a circus show is it's very organic, and it's constantly changing a little. Like I was saying, when the acrobats are flying, they're not always exactly flying at the same point where you're gonna sing that phrase. So of course it's very like similar, but sometimes it's not happening. So you have to be adaptable and accept the fact like it's not always like exactly constant. um I would say to it makes it also very interesting, these little change, because we repeat every day the same show, right? So like these little changes are actually interesting, and that makes it like fun, and that's what makes it evolve actually. So I really love, this is one of my favorite, like when I have a good interaction on stage with the acrobats or the character dancer, that this is like a great moment.
Sophie, how should a singer craft their promotional materials to pique the interest of a circus company and target their needs specifically? What should their demo reel look like? And what are unique materials that a circus singer needs to include?
So I say the best thing you can do for Cirque du Soleil or any circus is to show versatility, like post quality content with different style of music. I would say to post often enough to show that you're still like you're still active, and you have to remind people that you're there, and to show also what you can do. I say, like, of course versatility is great, but if you really excel in one style, well, maybe that this is why also you're gonna be higher for that specific style. So this is also great. I think if you take new masterclass and or you learn a new vocal skill, it's always great to put it into and show, um, record demo with Cirque music and know what is the act behind. And again, like I go back to knowing the storytelling. So if if you know what the story is about and you sing it with like so much emotion and passion, like of course I think this is going to be noticed. And if you play instruments, this is also a great asset to put in the portfolio.
And for our final question, Sophie, are there classes or resources that specifically teach how to vocalize in a Cirque type way? And if so, can you describe what these classes offer and what they are like? And could we hear a little bit of what they are like?
Yeah, so I will just share what is my what I've been through. So I've been studying with Berkeley online. So the jazz course that I did with Berkeley was amazing. But I love the vocal technique from Richard Cross. He's a vocal master vocal from France, and he has his own technique, which is really um, it's really intuitive, and it's body awareness, sensation, connected to message your body is sending to you. And so I've been using this technique since 2014. It's been Séverine Parent who taught me that technique, and I constantly reach out to her to ask her, oh, okay, I feel that way, what do you think? And then she just tells me like few little words or few little things, and then I just feel it straight away in my body, and it feels aligned, and I just can sing so free. So this, I love it because it's very intuitive. You don't have to think so much about the anatomy of the body, and I love that intuitive way. Also, I combine it with Robert Poliquin. He's been actually coaching me for Cirque du Soleil a lot, and he's using the Feldenkrais methodology. So this is also very, it's very like about your body awareness, and it's really good. And last, I also studied with Estelle S. She's Cirque du Soleil icon. She's been singing with lots of shows, and she has, like, of course, her incredible background to share with us. But she combined it with Estelle voice training. So this is another great vocal technique to look up. So that's about it for my formation and training.
Any last thoughts that you would like to share for the interview, Sophie? Thank you again so much.
So I would say, like, for me, my journey as a singer uh, has been like mainly follow your dreams. So I always dreamt of being a singer, and I always like had like specific goal, and every time I had like this goal, like for example, I was dreaming of joining Curious, and I actually went to do that class for Berkeley with Berkeley for jazz vocal, and I just like I went to see the show and I got in. So when you have a goal, when you have a dream, just do everything in order to make it happen. And if ever it doesn't happen, then it's going to be the next one. I think everything happened for a reason, but always to have main goals, main dreams to look forward, to reach for. I think it's the best way to make it happen.
Thank you, Sophie, for teaching us how to think like an acrobat. Because to think like an acrobat means using our voice to maximize the vibrations that reverberate from the collective ensemble of the sound and soul of a production. This is the AAA segment, or Ask an Acrobat portion of our show, where I answer questions that didn't make it into the final cut of the interview, or where I share my own reflections on the episode topic. This was such an inspiring episode with Sophie Guay, and I love the idea of diving deep into the world of circus and cirque singing, because it really is a very mysterious and I think kind of magical medium, even till this day. There's not that many cirque and circus singers out there, and they really exist in a universe all on their own. I think it's a very difficult medium to insert yourself into, from what I've understood over the many years of working with so many circus singers and cirque singers. And I've worked with many singers that transitioned from the traditional environment of singing into the cirque style singing. And it's a lot. It's a lot to stretch your voice, day after day. I was recently just in contact with a singer where they lost their voice. And they found out that it was through aggressively warming up, which they thought was benefiting them. But it benefited them in the traditional market, but it actually was working against them in the circus singing market. And so this is something that Sophie brought up in the series and is, a very real threat to circus singers. You're doing such interesting type of vocalizing, so unique. And, you're performing a lot. You're doing so many different shows. I also, which is, I would think is maybe somewhat taboo, wanted to ask Sophie about what she does and what the backup system is actually when it comes down to the singer not being able to make it to the stage that day. And if there is no backup for you, do you use backup tracks that assist you? The singer that I was recently talking to, it came down to the fact that the show was going to be canceled that day because they could not, make their voice up to par for the show. And the stress, especially when you might be the only singer in the show, or because you are so central to the connectivity of the show, which the circus singer is most oftentimes, no matter what environment it is, whether it's a stage show or a cabaret or dinner theater or a traditional, circus tour, the singers are becoming more and more central to every single environment. And you don't usually go into any kind of circus show without having live singers there, which I think is so powerful and so beautiful that it's become so universal over the years. And if you get the opportunity to be able to perform live as an acrobat with a singer, you're very, very lucky for the energy that they bring into your performance and the way that they kind of hold you up. Another really interesting component that I wanted to focus on within this episode is also the fact that singers are now becoming kind of a triple threat in the way that they vocalize, and they also are becoming acrobats. So this is also, I think, a new thing that's come forward, and I wanted to put it out there for any of the acrobats out there that are somewhat, lyrically inclined, that this might be something that you want to take on yourself and maybe take a few courses and fine tune your vocals in that way. There is a really amazing singing contortionist online that is one of my all-time favorites because I haven't seen so much of that over the years. But if you go on YouTube, you're sure to be able to find her. It's from way back, but she's really, really incredible. And she's doing operatic singing while she's doing contortion, which is so difficult to do. I can't stress enough about the importance of taking care of your voice from what I've heard over the years. But I also too wanted to cycle back around again. If you are a singer and you want to put yourself out there in a very unique way, I highly suggest learning a little bit of acrobatic skill and incorporating that into your demo reel before you make an audition, or incorporating that into your audition, but also to just making it part of your special skills. Of course, singing is incredibly difficult. It's such a respected medium, and we are nothing without the musical quality that we get from our circus singers. But, in terms of learning that acrobatic skill as well, if it's something you feel like you can adapt to, I think that it would also too lead you into different areas of your career that you may not have thought about previously. So ask an acrobat so that you can think like an acrobat. Here are the top 5 takeaways from Let's Sing for Ourselves, The Art of the Circus Singer with Sophie Guay. Number 1, showing versatility when promoting yourself and highlighting instruments can increase your viability to land the job of circus singer. Number 2, do not warm up your vocals too much before your performance. This can lead to burnout. Number 3, learn the elements of the circus show that you want to sing for. Number 4, specific warm concoctions are central to taking care of your voice and do work. And number 5, your ear muscle is just as important as your voice muscle. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Think Like an Acrobat, where we learned how to sing for ourselves through the art of the circus singer with Sophie Guay. Please make sure to send in your video or audio questions about future episodes to news@circustalk.com. Stay tuned for the next episode of Think Like an Acrobat with your host, Shenea Stiletto.